Good morning, everybody. Happy Hump Day, Wednesday. I hope you guys are doing great this week. I wanted to hop on here to share a quick tip that I often tell many of my families I work with when they first start removing the inflammatory foods from their diet. But before I do, for any of you that don't know me, my name is Dana and I'm the creator of this Facebook group and I'm the creator of the ADHD Thrive Method for Kids group program. It's a program that helps kids and families, kids with ADHD reduce their symptoms naturally. I'm a board certified holistic health practitioner and I work with families all across the USA. I know I don't sound like I come from the USA, but I do live in Seattle, Washington. And I teach them what foods to eliminate, what foods to eat more of, what supplements to take, and what they can do to help heal their child's symptoms naturally. I would love to know more about you as well and what brought you here to the group. So if you are jumping on live, put a hashtag live and tell me what brought you to this group. Tell me in the comments why you are here and what you're hoping to learn from the group, because I take all the comments and I listen to that and I create all of my content around what you guys want and need. So, like I said, I wanted to hop on here today to share a quick tip that many of the families I work with have found really, really helpful. So, when people first begin removing these inflammatory foods from their diets, like gluten, dairy, and soy, they often feel completely overwhelmed, and I'm sure many of you have felt that, and I can tell you right back when I started with my son, I felt that way as well. And I've had so many parents come to me and say, if my child can't eat bread, they're going to starve. They basically live off sandwiches. And I wanted to hop on here today to reassure you that it is 1,000% possible to remove bread and other inflammatory foods and still feed your family delicious meals, and easy meals for that matter of fact. You're not going to have to spend hours and hours and hours in the kitchen. As I work with families going through my program, the ADHD Thrive Method for Kids, we sometimes do functional lab testing to see if their child has any food intolerances that are causing inflammation in their body as well. You would be amazed with the amount of foods that some people have to remove. Foods like rice, beans, bananas, dairy, soy, potatoes, tomatoes, or tomatoes as you would say, corn, berries, and the list goes on. And some families walk away with a list of 30 plus foods that their children has to temporarily remove while we work on healing their gut. Thankfully, most of the time, we can totally reintroduce these foods once we have their bodies have healed, and so it's not a long-term issue, so don't worry about that. What I tell these families is the same I wanted to tell you guys today. Focus on what you can eat, not what you can't eat. That mindset shift can make a huge difference in the way you feel. So here are a few examples of how that might work. Now, instead of focusing on not eating gluten, think instead about the new gluten-free flours you plan to try. Things like almond flour, cassava flour, or a good flour blend like Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 gluten-free flour. So instead of focusing on packaged snacks you can no longer get to eat, focus instead on other snacks that you can, fresh fruits and veggies that are going to make you feel better, look better, and become your best self. Also, instead of focusing on desserts you can't have, think about all of the better alternatives you can get to try, because believe me, there are some delicious alternatives out there that you would never know are gluten and dairy free. Now, this small mindset shift might not seem like a big thing, but it makes a massive impact. So by focusing on what you and your family can have, you are framing everything in a more positive light. and a more positive life as well. You're moving the thinking from what you're missing out on to what you're actually gaining. Believe me, I know how hard it is when you first start removing inflammatory foods. I know at times it can feel like there's nothing to eat. And believe me, I've been there too, but I see it time and time again when families just realize, wow, this is actually not that hard. It becomes your new normal. And so when it's your new normal, these changes are easy. One other tip I often give families just starting out is to find a handful of meals their family enjoys that are naturally gluten-free or easy to make gluten-free. Then once they have these meals lined up, repeat them week to week. So for instance, it could look like this. So every Monday, your family eats bunless hamburgers or gluten-free buns with the hamburgers. Every Tuesday, your family eats gluten-free tacos with dairy-free cheese. Every Wednesday, your chicken eats sheet pan chicken and veggies, and so forth. By repeating the same handfuls of meals from week to week, it becomes much more doable to make this lifestyle change. Then as you feel more comfortable, you slowly add in more variety and more new recipes. I can tell you my kids eat grass-fed sausages straight from the freezer into the oven with oven fries and cut up vegetables pretty much every Monday night. Okay, so I do that and it makes life so much simpler. But then, because we've been doing this for a long time, I can just pull stuff out of the fridge and bang something together because it's our new normal like that. You do start to feel comfortable and you can slowly add in that more variety and more recipes. One other thing before I sign off today, I wanted to let each of you know that later on this week, I'm going to share a couple of my favorite naturally gluten-free dinner recipes in this public Facebook group. So make sure and keep an eye out for those in a couple of days. So that's it for now. I hope you found this information helpful. Drop any comments if you've got any questions, and I am more than happy to answer them. Take care, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.